This is chapter 2 of Leonard Ravenhill's book, Why Revival Tarries. It seems to me that like this man was a man of prayer because much of the emphasis in this manuscript is about prayer, it's about consecration, and I believe it is very important and helpful to the church and especially to the ministers of the gospel. So without further ado, let me just do chapter 2. And the heading is Prayer Grasps Eternity. All right. He says that no man is greater than his prayer life. No man is greater than his prayer life. The pastor who is not praying is playing. The people who are not praying are straying. The pulpit can be a shop window to display one's talent. The prayer closet allows no showing off. You see, the pulpit will be celebrated, you'll get comments, you'll get compliments. Majority will follow you up because probably you are articulate. But in the prayer closet, it is you and God. So there's no show off in the prayer closet. All right. He continues to say, poverty-stricken as the church is today in many things, she is most stricken here in the place of prayer. We have many organizers, but few agonizers. We have many players, but few prayers and pairs. Few prayers, we have many singers, few clingers. Lots of pastors, few wrestlers. Many fears, few tears. Much fashion, very little passion. Many interferers, few intercessors. Many writers, very few fighters. Falling here, we are failing everywhere. Remember, this book was written in 1959. We are in 2024. How true is this? Seems like a prophetic book to me, right? The two prerequisites to successful Christian living are vision and passion, both of which are born and maintained by prayer. The ministry of preaching is open to few. The ministry of prayer, the highest of all form of offices, is open to all. Spiritual adolescents say, I will not go tonight. It's only the prayer meeting. It may be that Satan has little cause to fear most preaching, yet past experiences sting him to rally all his infernal armies to fight against God's people praying. In other words, he's saying that the enemy has no problem with any type of preaching, but he's very much afraid when believers gather for prayer, because he knows that that will be the beginning of his downfall. God's people praying, modern Christians know little of binding and loosing. Though the onus is on us, whatsoever ye shall bind shall be bound in heaven. Have you done any of this lately? God is not prodigal with his power, but to the march for God, we must be much with God. Let me say that again. To be much for God, we must be much with God. This world hits the trails for hell with a speed that makes our fastest plane look like a tortoise. Yet alas, few of us can remember the last time we missed our bed for a night of waiting upon God for a world-shaking revival. Remember, he said that for us to move with the power of the Holy Ghost and to change the things, we must have passion and we must have a vision. All right. That's why he's saying, when was the last time we missed our beds just to wait at the place of the altar and wait upon the Lord to give us unction for a world-shaking revival? Our compassions are not moved. We mistake the scaffolding for the building. Present-day preaching, while its pale interpretation of divine truth causes us to mistake action for unction, commotion for creation, and rattles for revivals. The secret of praying is praying in secret. A sinning man will stop praying A praying man will stop sinning. We are beggared and bankrupt, but not broken, not even bent. Prayer is profoundly simple and simply profound. Prayer is the simplest form of speech that infant lips can try, and yet so sublime that it outrages all speech and exalts man's vocabulary. A Niagara of burning words does not mean that God is either impressed or moved. One of the most profound Old Testament intercessors had no language. Her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. No linguistic here. No linguist here. There are no groanings. They were just groanings which cannot be uttered. He is talking about Anna. You remember Anna when he was praying that God will remember her with a son? All right. And Eli, the high priest, confused her groanings to be drunkenness. That's what the man of God is talking about. Are we so substandard to the New Testament Christianity that we know not the historical faith of our fathers with its implication and operations, but only the hysterical faith of our fellows? Prayer is to be the believer. Prayer is to the believer what capital is to a businessman. Let me say that slowly. Prayer is to the believer what capital is to the businessman. Can any deny that in the modern church setup, the main cause of anxiety is money? Yet, that which tries the modern church is the most trouble in the New Testament church, at least. Our accent is on paying. Theirs was on praying. So, anasema in our church today, we are so much insistent on paying. Pay this, give this. Their actions was much more on praying. When we have paid, the place is taken. When we have prayed, the place is shaken. In the matter of New Testament spirit-inspired, hell-shaking and world-breaking prayer, never has so much been left by so many to so few. For this kind of prayer, there is no substitute. We do it or we die. So in other words, what he's saying in chapter 2, we have to get back at the place of prayer and praying passionately for God to give us the unction to do exactly what he desires us to do. He's telling us to get out of the place of asking and receiving and enter into the place of prayer where we will get all the unction for the journey ahead. God bless you.